Hello, gamers. Do you like RPGs? Do you like cute anime girls? Do you like stories of the chosen good boy or chosen good girl fighting against evil despite all odds? Well, too bad. We're gonna talk about Nocturne. Oh, hello. So in this silly little retrospective, we'll be taking a look at one of my favorite games, Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. Full disclosure, I'm not the biggest RPG or JRPG fan. I played a lot of Pokemon as a grubby little kid. Later as a horny teen, I played all the Fire Emblem girlfriend simulators on the 3DS. And as a lonely young adult, I played through Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5 Royal, which is what eventually led me to play an actually good game in the mainline Shin Megami Tensei series. I won't be going into great detail on the rest of the SMT franchise in this series, as I believe it's not necessary to appreciate what makes Nocturne great. But don't just take my word for it. Let's take a peek at what the real deal gamers have to say. This is a great game. Graphics are awesome and gameplay is smooth. I highly recommend this to anyone who likes this type of game. It's always good to see these older games with a new look and to see the light of day again. I'm definitely sinking some time into this. If you're into the Persona series, the Shin Megami Tensei series is a darker, grittier world of Persona. I would recommend this to anyone into classic RPGs as a must play. I love recruiting demons and creating a new world. Despite my hour count, I did complete this game. Shin Megami Tensei 3 is an interesting JRPG that I can say I enjoyed, but I can't recommend for most. Things the game does right. Atmosphere. This is the best. Can we turn the music off? The music. It's getting too. Can we turn the music off? Can we turn the fucking music off? Wow, wasn't that incredibly insightful? Well, without further ado, let's jump into the wacky world of Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. Here we go! The game opens on a babe in the ethereal void, and she starts yakking about how the world's gonna end, sins need to be repaid, world's gonna be reborn, everything we know crumble into dust, yada yada yada. It's probably not that important, but she does ask us our names, so I guess we'll tell her that. So naturally we name our character Dark Edgy Persona, and the hot ethereal babe tells us to go forth into the big wonderful world of Pokemon. And then the game finally begins.
Yogi Koen. Please do not rush onto the train. The door is now closing.
As soon as we get off the train, we get a call from one of our dickhead classmates talking about how we gotta go meet up with our teacher so we can make a move on her. He also lets us know that we gotta be dripped out for this occasion, so luckily we're wearing our iconic new demon jacket. Before we head out, we have a brief chat with the station staff man on duty who informs us that there was a brutal riot at Yoyogi Park. Naturally, we ignore this and leave anyway and immediately head there. Immediately after exiting the train station, we're greeted to a fresh as fuck beat as we mosey around Japan and start chatting up the locals. Apparently the entrances to Yogi Park have been blocked off as a result of the riots, so we'll have to find another way in. One of the conversations we can overhear while walking around the overworld is between a pair of high school girls, one of which finds it incredibly attractive that our dickhead friend who called us earlier has an immense amount of lore behind him. So remember fellas, don't go to the gym, don't try to improve yourself emotionally, just work on your world building. Another girl we can talk with tells us not to creep on our teacher, so bad news for all the Persona fans out there. We then go over to check out the big news planned on the display in Shibuya to get more info on the Yogi Park riots. Additionally, they mention that this guy with a fucked up hairline in the background is a big wig at a tech company and he's been missing for a little while. He's probably not that important, so we decide to finally head over to Yogi Park and inspect it for ourselves, despite all of the horrible warnings about murder and death there. We'll probably be okay, it's not a big deal. After finally arriving at Yogi Park, we meet the iconic Shin Megami Tensei character Man, who is extremely peeved that they won't let him in. This fedora-tipping fella starts immediately spouting off conspiracy theories about cults fighting and killing each other in the park to a complete stranger, but luckily we get interrupted with a call from one of our classmates. She starts chewing us out over the phone and tells us to get our little behind to the hospital in Shinjuku, which really piques Man's interests. He tells us that he's actually on his way to the hospital as well, and then whips out a conspiracy magazine that he happened to write an article in and gives it to us. He then goes on to say that there's a lot of spooky, scary things going on in the hospital, but then goes, haha, maybe I'm wrong, oh well, bye-bye, and then tips his fedora and leaves. So with that, we can finally leave Yogi Park and head on over to the hospital. We finally arrive at the Shinjuku Medical Center and meet up with our classmate Chiaki, who is absolutely denim down from head to toe. She mentions how spooky scary the hospital is, and also says that our other classmate has been bumbling around looking for our teacher so he can try to make a move. We give her the magazine that the fedora man in the park gave to us earlier, and then we leave to go find our other classmate. As we're exploring the second floor, we stop to grab a little sody pop and obtain the mysterious drink. Clearly this is the key to everything, but we pocket it for now and keep looking for our other classmate. We find our other classmate Izamu just hanging out on the second floor. He gives us a tough time for showing up late, but you gotta admit, the dude's dripped out. He's got the bootcut jeans on, he's got the big belt buckle, silly necklace, big poofy hat. It's really impossible to match this man's drip. He comments on how empty and ominous the hospital is, and how he's been unable to find our teacher despite looking everywhere. Eventually he decides to go back downstairs, and we follow him so we can regroup. We head back down to the lobby and talk to Chiaki, who's reading the occult magazine we gave to her earlier. She's especially concerned about a demon-worshipping cult called the Ring of Gaia. The cult aims to use a book of mythical prophecy called the Scripture of Moroku in order to bring chaos upon the world. It's unclear what they mean exactly by chaos, but this will come into play later. Maybe. Or maybe it won't, I don't know. Just then, everyone's favorite bootcut bandit, Izamu, comes back down and says that once again he has failed to find our teacher, and he even checked the men's restroom, so you know he's serious. Chiaki goes on to tell us that the magazine says that the Ring of Gaia has set up their big evil base in the hospital, and everyone agrees that they need to get the heck out of there and find their teacher. Because we have the worst fit of the group, we are nominated to go down in the big scary basement and look for her there. So we head on down to the basement by ourselves and quickly discover that, yes, indeed, everything the occult magazine said was true. There's big demon sacrificing rooms, but instead of actually deciding to leave, we keep exploring around and come across the room making eerie sounds, so naturally we decide to go in. We come face to face with Hikawa, who we saw on the big teleprompter earlier, and just right off the bat, you know this dude loves the smell of his own farts. He goes on and rambles about how the world's coming to an end, it's gotta be this way, and naturally because he is just the smartest fucking guy around, he's gotta be the one to bring about the end of the world. He then goes, nothing personal, kid, and then summons a big scary fucking demon goat. But right before it's about to end us, our teacher finally decides to show up. We learn that her name is Yuko, and she puts the girl boss moves on Hikawa and gets him to spare our lives. Hikawa then gets all pouty and tells us to leave so he can enjoy the end of the world by himself, and then power swivels. Our teacher tells us that we should meet her on the roof to witness the world-changing event that's about to happen, and then dips. As we head back out to the elevator to try to make it up to see our teacher before Izamu gets there, we run into a lady in black and a small, evil-looking blonde child. They mutter some ominous shit about being interested in us and then just kind of blink away. We have more pressing matters to attend to at the moment, so we make a beeline to the rooftop to talk to our teacher. When we meet Yuko on the roof, she starts telling us about the rebirth of the world that's going to occur. She says the world is about to be plunged into chaos, but it's a necessary evil so that it can be born again. She also mentions that she will bear the sins for this action, which seems to allude that she'll have a much bigger role to play in the story. She also says that the fate we're about to experience is worse than death, so all in all, it's a good thing that she saved us by tricking us to come into the hospital so that we can suffer endlessly in a post-apocalypse. Very cool, Yuko. Thank you. She tells us to go find her when the world is reborn, and just like that, the big funky conception begins. So after everything we've ever known was destroyed in the conception, we find ourselves talking to a cool freaking block entity. It chastises us for having no reason and says, as we are now, we are unable to shape the world. And then it basically just shoots us back out into the reformed Japan and tells us to touch grass and come back later. After talking to God in the system settings void, we come across the woman in black and the evil blonde child again. The lady lets us know that the little kid has a gift for us, and then they hold us down and force feed us a little creepy crawly. We awaken back in the hospital, now fully transformed into a demon. Our appearance is mostly the same, aside from the full body glowy tattoos and a big jutting demon dongle coming out of our neck. The biggest tragedy is not that everyone we've ever known is dead, but that we lost our iconic demon jacket when that little shit kid force-fed us the bug. The old lady tells us that the bug we were fed is actually called a magatama, and after ingesting it, we have now officially joined the ranks of demons. Also, she says that her little master is going to be watching us the entire time, so we better put on a good show. Which means no messing up in any of the battles, no posting cringe of any kind. It's not allowed. We re-emerge in the underground facility at the Shinjuku Medical Center, and immediately have a nice little chat with a spooky ghost. He insults us for being a demon, and then we decide to explore a little bit more. We come across the door with a strange insignia and hear some weird noises going on inside. So naturally we decide to open it again because we didn't learn our lesson from last time. We come across our old pal Hajiri, who is fondling up a strange little drum with a bunch of symbols on it. We have an extremely touching reunion, and he tells us that he was blinded by a bright light and then ended up in this room. He asks us if we've come across any demons yet, and says that we should go out and explore a little bit while he stays here. He's just too weak and frail, and clearly we are fit to fight literal demons just because we have a dolphin fin and some cool tattoos. And just like that, Hijiri gives us a tender forehead kiss, and we leave to go explore the new world. It's been a pretty eventful first day in the world of Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. So let's stop and take a minute to reflect on everything that we've learned in our journey so far.
That's right. Now let's see if QWERTY has a verse for us today.
Okay.
1 pound ground beef, 3 slices of... QWERTY, this is a recipe for meatloaf. That's not a verse. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go.
Trying to have sex with your teacher will set events into motion that will destroy the world. Bootcut jeans are timeless. If children like you, they will give you cool bugs to eat. And remember, kids, God and the devil are real, and everyone you know is dead. Bye-bye.